I am in the oldest dim sum restaurant in all of New York City. This is NYC Parlor, and it was opened in 1920 here at one of the coolest streets in all of New York City, which is Doris Street. It used to have a very, very dark past, but let's not get into that for this video. Let's enjoy some dim sum, which is very, very popular type of food. So I'm Ariel with Urbanist, and let's enjoy some dim sum here in New York City. Let me show you more of the street. And unfortunately, my previous live stream crashed because of bad service. I'm not entirely sure. There was one street where there was very, very bad service and it just crashed. So nothing happened, luckily. The live stream just crashed out of nowhere. But nonetheless, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy a nice little dinner here at Dim Sum. Let me show you. So right over here, NYC Parlor. Ariel?
Ariel?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So right here, NYC Parlor. The food is already ready. Excited. So 1920. And the entire tea parlor is very popular. And look at that. Right behind me is the famous speakeasy, Apotheke. And also there's a restaurant called Chinese Tuxedo, which is also very popular. So it looks like a movie set. Yeah, literally being here feels like a movie set. And I never thought I would eat outside because usually the eating situation is indoors with all these restaurants. So it's actually a really cool spot. And I hope in the future they end up, improving this even more and ends up becoming like a beautiful dining street. So Rissa says, I'm on pins and needles and I love the street. Me too. So this is a very unique opportunity to eat on the street. Please show us the inside of the dim sum. Oh, we will. And Eugen says, you're right. That's what matters. Indeed. Yeah, sorry, everyone. The stream crashed for no reason. All right. So I got some beer. I got beer from the Bronx Brewery. It's called No Resolutions IPA. So perfect time for the new year because no resolutions whatsoever. What is dim sum? Dim sum you can think about as Chinese tapas. It's tiny little dishes which you eat with the family or by yourself if you're very hungry, and you see a bunch of little tiny treats. So that started in the Chinese tea houses in southern China around the Cantonese area of the port of Canton. All around that area, it quickly became very popular in the 1800s to the point where it formalized into dim sum, where people have it a lot on Saturdays, I think, especially for Chinese American families. So here's Bronx IPA. Let's try it out before I open up the dim sum. Wow, that's a good IPA. And Chinese charcuterie. Not really. Not in. It's a bit different. Charcuterie is kind of like pickled vegetables. So you don't really have. You have pickled vegetables on the food, but you don't have just a side of pickled vegetables. So not quite. Not quite. Pretty close analogy. Pretty close. Luciano, I am indeed alive. The stream crashed out of nowhere. There was bad service in one of the streets, as you can tell. It crashed out of nowhere. I'm not entirely sure what happened. So here, I got some soup dumplings. Oh, that's good. I got three different things. A gigantic pork bun. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorites in New York City. I can't wait to go to Hong Kong and try an official pork bun. And the last one, I got some beef rice rolls. So I will open all of them each as I go on. And usually this is a sit-down restaurant, but they have this outdoor seating set up here. And some chopsticks. Outdoor seating style over here. And I really want to see what you get. Oh yes, you will. You will. The pork buns are so good. I am so excited for the pork buns. I'm going to leave the pork bun for last because I have a feeling this will keep well heated for the longest. The soup dumplings, I think, need to cool down just a bit. We don't want to burn our tongue. I don't want to burn my tongue, so we're gonna try the rice roll first. And Rizzo says, holy smokes, oh yeah. So dim sum, composing a few different types of small dishes. M8R says, glad you're safe. Yeah. Bite and show us the insides. I will do, ladies and gentlemen. Ate these many times in the late 60s. Katie, that's so cool. Yeah, Numwa, I think it's been owned by the same family for a few decades. So I think it's only been through 2 families, if I recall correctly, dim sum. So it's still a family-owned restaurant here in New York City, as far as I know. All right, let's try these rice rolls. Actually, these rice rolls will need some soy sauce. So we got some soy sauce right over here. And I'm gonna pour that soy sauce all on top of these rice rolls. So I'm super excited to eat at this place because I actually never tried the original restaurant. I've loved my history. I've covered the history many times, but since it was always so crowded, I never wanted to visit. I usually don't like crowded restaurants, unless if I really want the food. So I never bothered visiting. But now, since it's outdoors, I feel a lot more quieter, a lot more calmer out here. It's a great opportunity to have some. I gotta roll up my sleeves for this. And see me, I'm back indeed. I am back indeed. All right, I'm gonna use a fork just to make it easier on myself. All right, look at this. Beef in a dough made with rice. Very thin. It almost tastes like a moist crepe. Let's try it out. Very good. The rice roll itself is very nice and soft and chewy. It has a small little bounce back to it. It's because it's made out of this. It's fluffier than the ones that you get in a little bit more kind of fast food places, more casual places, which I've shown before. I've shown Joe steam rolls. It's a lot more thinner. This one is a little bit thicker. Look at how thick this one is. It tastes like a nice little thick pasta. The beef itself is pretty good. I like it. So Kay, it is indeed a new cardigan. So the entire mouthfeel of it is like very slimy. And that might not sound appetizing, but trust me, it is. if you're a fan of, it's hard to even find anything like it, anything similar to it. If you're a fan of, I would say like, I'm trying to think of something that compares, but like there's not even an Italian comparison to it. It almost tastes like a dulce de leche cake is the only really comparison I can think about. If anyone has a better comparison, because it's hard to even think of a comparison of the sliminess, but it's like a very good sliminess. All right. Amal and everyone, I'm okay. The connection dropped. I know the connection dropped at a time where we encountered a very weird individual, but it was not related. Luckily, it was not related. Wow. I don't think there's any really good comparison to a Western type of sliminess. Doris says like risotto. Yeah, I think that's as close you can get is like a risotto. Is the type of sliminess that you get. A very good sliminess. Like a raw oyster, yeah. In a way, yeah. Similar texture, right. Right. It might sound very unappetizing, but trust me, once you bite into it, it's very, very tasty. Put some soy sauce on it. New Yorkers are foodies for sure. We speak of food and savor all the intricacies, taste, and aroma, says Christina. Yeah, indeed. Indeed, New York City is a very foodie city. It's been a very foodie city for at least since the early 2000s with the era of Anthony Bourdain. So yeah. All right. I'm gonna eat all of this, so feel free to ask me any other questions as we bite into the other types of food. Wow. This is when you bite into it, there's such a rush of juices, the sliminess of the rice roll. That beef is really tender. It's very kind of soft, and it's not the rougher kind of ground beef. Really great. John, so this is a beef rice roll. We're eating dim sum at the oldest dim sum restaurant in all of New York City. I think it might be the oldest dim sum parlor in the U.S. period, but maybe there was an older one in San Francisco, maybe. All right, now for the soup dumplings. So this is kind of a very important part of modern food history, modern American food history. Because dim sum has really taken over kind of many cities, especially New York and San Fran, from what I've read, and also Los Angeles. They're very popular foods nowadays. And it's because of that Chinese influence that came from the Canton area and all those other areas, Guangdong as well. So that influence has kind of become super popular in this area. So much so that because it's popular here in New York, when you go to other cities like Paris or London or even Rome, you're starting to see dim sum places or places selling dumplings, which is fascinating. Daisy, I love soup dumplings. All right, soup dumplings is next. Let's try that. Look how beautiful they are.
Thank you.
Alec says, super sexy. Thank you so much, Alec. I appreciate it. He's not far from Little Italy. No, I'm not far from Little Italy at all. I'm pretty close. So look at all these dumplings. Wow. 4 dumplings. The entire meal cost me $22. And I gave like a $3 tip. I could give a little bit more actually after this. But the entire meal was only $22. I am getting pretty full from all of this, so you can easily share this with 2 people for a light meal. If you want to have a heavy meal, I don't think you'll be spending more than $40, $50. The prices are good because it's no longer a sit-down restaurant, so they're doing kind of more competitive pricing, so you can just sit down outside and everything. No table service or anything, you just order at the counter, which I'll show you a little bit more as I get closer, and you sit down and they bring the food to you, and that's it. If you want to order more, you have to go up and pay. All right, let's try this. Soup dumpling. Here's the inside. This one broke up. This is not quite a soup dumpling per se. Maybe it is. It doesn't strike me too much of a soup dumpling, but it's more of like a regular dumpling. I was wrong. It looks like a shumai, says Goldwyn. Yes, it looks like a shumai. I thought it was going to be like a shumai. I thought it was going to be very kind of just meaty. That's soupy. I'm not sure how they fit so much soupiness into this tiny little thing. My entire mouth was filled with juices. Wow. That is so soupy for a tiny little thing. This looks can be deceiving. Oh wow. Let's bite into another one. Have you ever seen a film like Deep Impact or Armageddon, where there's a massive tidal wave heading to New York about to destroy the entire city? Well, that's how I feel in my mouth. It's a massive tidal wave of soup dumpling juices that are about to ravage my taste buds. That's how I feel. Rated from 1 to 10. These are really good soup dumplings. They're not huge. I would give these soup dumplings, if I had to rate it. I usually don't rate things aside from benches. I would give these soup dumplings a solid 8 out of 10. Is it salty? No, not really. It's juicy, it's savory, it's hearty, but not really on the salty side. Not quite like a meat pierogi. Might be a little bit more saltier. So no, not quite salty. Wow, these guys really hit the nail on the head. This is one of the best soup dumplings I've had, actually. Someone asked me earlier, am I at Joe Shanghai? So Joe Shanghai is actually around the corner. I'm not entirely sure if they're open right now. When I passed by it, right when I lost service, it seemed to be closed. But I think they're open more towards the weekends. I love Joe Shanghai, and those also are great soup dumplings. Daisy says, okay, now I have to have dim sum for dinner. Yeah, let me know, Daisy. And for anyone else watching, is there dim sum in your nearby city? Doris, why am I not using chopsticks? I just kind of want to make it easier for me. I just want to make it easier. I'm doing a video in the middle of the street. Sitting down. Don't want to struggle with chopsticks. Or risk it falling down. So it's a pork soup dumpling. Again, basically everything we had is pork, and that one, the rice roll was beef. Kind of those beautiful pork juices. So it tastes more like a broth, not salty broth, like American style broth, or like American style broths tend to be a little bit more saltier, or like Scandinavian broths. But this one tastes more kind of more meatier. You don't have too much saltiness. More meatier. They have a lot of chives in it. You have that room. Save room for the next course. Yeah, the last course of the day is this one, the pork bun. I'm already done with these dumplings. These are really good tiny bites. Oh wow, absolutely in love with this food. So let me know if you have any other questions before I get into this pork bun. Let me read your comments. I'm a New Yorker in SF, and there's dim sum everywhere. Yeah, there's dim sum everywhere. But you're dieting. Yeah, it might be hard to not consume breads if you are eating dim sum. Dim sum, it'll be very hard to have gluten-free dim sum, generally. But a lot of things are dairy-free, which is nice. Elisa says, don't make Ariel work too hard with those sticks. You know, I usually eat chopsticks, but if I have like a bigger plate and a little bit more comfier inside a restaurant, I'll use chopsticks. They don't sell coffee. No, Enrique, great question. No, many places don't sell coffee in dim sum places. If you want dim sum, you have to grab tea, generally. But I would say it's a better combination, tea with dim sum. What time is the chat on Friday? 4 p.m. Maine is cloudy and gray now. Oh no, yeah, it's a bit cloudy and gray now here as well. I know London has a few dim sum places as well. A. Rodriguez, yes indeed, it's like Chinese tapas. Amazing dim sum in Chicago. Oh, cool. Ming Hin, Furama, and Dolo are a few favorites. Oh, cool. That's awesome. All right. And Coca-Cola says 420 people watching. Oh. Well, quite an appropriate number for this type of food. Los Angeles has the best dim sum in the U.S., in my opinion, says Andrew. Ooh, Andrew, interesting. Bold words. Have you compared? Have you compared New York with SF? San Francisco? Do you do private tours in Spanish with a Cuban flair? Asked Joe. Joe, I do offer tours in Spanish. Yes, you can reach out to me. Private tours only. Right here, urbanist.live/tours. You can book a tour. I also can accommodate for food tours, pandemic permitting, but yeah. And also private virtual tours. Have you always lived in New York? Yes, I have. So I haven't been to San Francisco, and when I went to LA, I really didn't have a Chinese food, or basically, I didn't basically try the East Asian food when I went to Los Angeles. But can't wait to do so when next time I go. All right, pork bun. This is my favorite. Pork bun is a beautiful kind of marriage of East meets West. So, of course, many people know that Hong Kong was colonized by the British Empire for a little bit more than a century. And the British end up bringing their tradition of meat pastries to that area of the world. And thus we have a meat pastry, basically a Cornish pasty or a meat pie or sausage roll, but more Asian style, more Chinese style. And rather having that flaky bread that you see in the UK or in Ireland, you see more of the soft, fluffy bread here with the pork bun. So let's open it up. Veronica's wondering what happened. Veronica, I ran out of service. Service dropped as I was walking around. That's why the last live stream stopped. Stuffed with pork with a barbecue-like sauce. This is very common in Hong Kong and other parts of China. It has become popular across other parts of China, but it is originating from Hong Kong. Coca-Cola says it was that woman the live streamer as well. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Alright, let's try this out. So, is it sweet and savory? It kind of toes that line very, very closely. But no, it's mostly savory. Mostly savory. The breading is made with milk, eggs, and I think a little bit of sugar. So it does have a slight sweetness to it, but it is mostly savory. And it's really, really good. Really, really good. So glad you introduced me to a small business coffee shop. Oh, I'm so glad, Amanda. Yeah, I mean, support your small businesses. That's why I'm making this video. So people can support all their small businesses. Maybe whatever area of the world you're in, maybe dim sum in some major city, or it can be coffee, or it can be a donut, or it can be anything. Literally anything. Support your small businesses. Do you save the best till last, says Phil? My favorite is the pork bun, and I think the pork bun does keep heat the longest, so that's why I saved it for last. Am I in Chinatown? Indeed I am. This is a pork bun. Can you get this gluten-free? I would say it's very difficult. I have not encountered gluten-free dim sum yet. But maybe there is a place. Let me know. Am I going to get dinner in Chinatown? Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is my dinner. I don't think I'm going to eat much more for the rest of the day. Have I eaten chicken feet? No, not so much. It's not my favorite. I don't like it too much. It seems to be kind of a white bread. It's more of like a fluffy dessert bread. I'm not sure if the Europeans have, or here in America we have like a equivalent to this. It's like more of like a fluffy sweet bread. So it's hard to explain. It doesn't really taste like a white bread. Oh my God, Robbie! Hey, how's it going? Were you driving around?
Yeah, I was on my way to the bridge. I just figured I'd come and say hi.
Oh, cool. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Great, awesome. Yeah, man. I love the Urbanist orange. Here's Robbie,
Oh, yeah.
our neighborhood-friendly bike messenger tour guide.
Yeah,
I
not
like-
my most attractive sweater. It's very stand-up, but it's just the damn messenger work.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're very quick. You move around the city very quickly.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Today was kind of slow. I chilled and ate a lot of food, much the same way you did.
How long does it take you to ride across the Manhattan?
Less than 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes. Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, the Manhattan's a really easy one.
Yeah.
The steeper, more challenging ones are the Queensboro and the Williamsburg.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, the Williamsburg you
Yeah.
have to really go uphill. Yeah.
Yeah, which is odd because the Williamsburg is the most popular one for cyclists.
Oh yeah.
And the Queensboro is very overcrowded because they closed the pedestrian lane, so everybody has to go in one side.
Oh wow.
Where on the Manhattan, there's 2 separate sides for pedestrians and cyclists.
Yeah.
It's the same with Williamsburg too.
Oh wow. Have you tried this place?
Not yet. I mean, I've taken, like, every time I do a Manhattan tour,
Yeah.
I take them down this block.
Yes.
a little
It's a
bit
popular
about
tourist
it.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that this would be a really nice dining.
Man, highly recommend it. I because it used to be
You
a
know,
lot more
it
expensive.
is.
It used to be very expensive, but now that the prices are a little bit less expensive, it's really damn
Yeah,
good.
I always
Yeah.
assumed it was expensive, so
Yeah.
I just didn't go in.
No, now they're being very competitive. Like this cost me $22, which
That's
is a
incredible.
little bit above regular rate, but it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I do love super good places.
Yeah.
It's the most incredible food innovation that's ever been
There we go.
made.
See, you heard it
I
from a
mean-
New Yorker as well.
Like a sip of like hot soup inside of a dumpling. How do you accomplish that?
Right.
Who thought of it?
right. It's a meal on the go.
I
for
mean,
your
I
mouth.
understand how they do it. Like they wait until it's gelatinous and then stuff it in.
Right.
And yeah, and then it reliquefies. But it's awesome.
That's the true New York way. You eat everything on the go. So as much as you can stuff into one tiny thing,
Yeah.
it's a good New York meal.
In the summertime, they paint this whole street.
They do,
And
yeah.
there's a bunch of like tables and like a lot of stuff going on here. It's really nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's very nice. I like it in the summertime. I'm glad I could sit here. During the wintertime in the middle of the street. It's a really unique kind of
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah.
The weather's very strange.
Yeah, indeed it is.
Dude, when you were at the Chinatown mural, I wanted to like scream through my phone at you because like
Why?
there's like some fun little facts about it you kind of missed.
Oh, okay. Tell us. I'm curious.
Okay, so the Chinatown bus
Yeah.
in the painting, the bus is on fire.
Yes, had no idea why.
Okay, so it's specifically the Fenghua bus. It's one specific service out of many that operate out of Chinatown, going to cities all over the Northeast. The Fenghua was notorious for being the cheapest and the least reliable. And there was one time, like on a trip, the bus caught fire.
Oh, that's why. Oh no,
yeah.
that sucks. With people on
Yeah,
it.
it was a very like big story when it happened.
Yeah.
So that's why it's on the mural. And that mural is done by this couple that travels the country doing these greeting card style murals. They did 2 in New York. They did another one in Harlem.
Oh, interesting. So it's the same type of the same 2 people that are making it. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you gotta check out their Instagram page where you can follow their travels. It's called Greetings From.
Oh, that's so cool. So at Harlem, they also have like little pictures within the letters.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and there's also the dragon letter,
Right.
which is the Chinatown ice cream factory.
Yeah,
You were
I
right
did
in
say
front
that,
of it.
yeah.
Okay,
did
I
say
missed
that.
that part.
Yeah, and we're right next to it as well. It's their logo.
And
yeah.
the boxcar with the graffiti tag on it,
That one I did not know.
that's
fully.
an actual tag.
Wait, that's someone else actually tagged
No.
it?
They recreated somebody
Right.
else's tag. It was a local artist who had passed away shortly before they painted the mural.
Oh.
His tag, his name is Jade, and
Oh,
that's
that's
what it
so
says
cool.
if you look closely at it.
Oh, that's so cool that they actually added the tag from a real person aside from the artist
Yeah,
of the
it's
mural.
incredible. Like they travel all over the country, yet they get all these weird details that mostly locals would
Yeah.
only recognize.
Oh, interesting. I gotta check that out. All right, everyone. There's a few extra fun facts about the Chinatown mural.
I had to show up just to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. That is a great little fun fact. This things that sometimes people don't know. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, hire a tour guide like Rob.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. All right, awesome. Have a good ride across the Manhattan, man.
Thank you
nice
so
to
much.
see you.
Have a great night.
Have a good night. All right, so that is Rob. He's appeared many times in my videos. He's a bike messenger, so he's always around the city. And I'm not sure if you were able to hear him, let me know. But he said that in the Chinatown mural, they show a bus on fire because there was a bus company that was notorious for being terrible. And one bus actually got on fire. All right, so let me have the rest of this pork bun. Ooh. So right now I am at Numwall Tea Parlor in Doris Street, also known as the Bloody Angle. But that's for another video. Nat Cat, you knew that the conversation would happen? Interesting. What's the brief history of Doris Street? Okay, so Doris Street, Opium, no, that used to be an opium den. No, I wouldn't doubt that maybe some of these locations historically were at some point. The tour bus goes to Bohemian Sung is pretty bad too. And we seen Rob 1 week ago. Yes, he was the man who did buy me a coffee. I was very, very grateful for buying me a cup of coffee. So, do you want to know the history of where we're eating? I mean, it might either enhance your eating experience or might diminish it. It depends on what you're into. I like history, so it enhances kind of a bit. But let me know if you want to know the history of Doris Street. All right, so Zappa says yes, Eric says yes, RD says murder. Yeah, you can do it. It's brutal. Okay, so this is also known as the Bloody Angle. It's also known as Murder Alley. And it's because it's a double blind spot. So here in Doris Street, you can't really see. If you're here in this corner, on this side, I can't see who's coming from that side. So if Robbie comes from this side, I'm gonna be caught by surprise. So Robbie, please don't surprise me. But also, if you're on the other side, you can't see the other side of the street. So it's a double blind spot. So what does that mean? Well, in Chinatown's history towards the late 1800s, early 1900s, and this is depicted, at least the West Coast version, in the TV series Warrior, there were two rival tongs. Tongs were gangs. Tongs are a little bit more complicated than a gang, but they're also associations, and they do a bunch of other things beyond criminal activity. But one of those things were criminal activity at that time. The Oleong Tong and the Hip Sing Tong. And these two tongs got into a war with each other. And one of the wars, they came here and they would often fight on this very corner. Right here next to us used to be the Chinese Opera House. And the Chinese Opera House was the sanctuary. So no violent activity can be conducted within the Chinese Opera House. But one night, one of the tongs was wearing very long jackets. And it was a bit weird because it was the middle of the summertime. The other tong, they were sitting in the very front row seat. The other tongs were sitting right behind, literally in this location. I'm standing right next to it. And the tongs with the long jackets during the middle of the Chinese opera stood up, turned around, opened up their jackets, took out gigantic guns, and shot the other tongs. Hence, kicking off the Tong Wars. Then other Tong members would come over here and fight against each other. Try to ambush each other because they can't see who's coming from one end or the other. Then they will also be known for using hatchets. And the thing is, they were known for using hatchets because it was a bit easier to smuggle in a hatchet than to use a gun. So some Tong members were called hatchet men. And they would hatch their victims, which would be other gang members. They weren't really known for attacking other people, so luckily nothing usually was involved with civilians. But the thing is, there was so much gang violence on this very street that it is rumored that many of these Tong members are buried underneath. But how about the head Tongs, the dragon heads, as some movies like to call them? They probably had a different name, but in movies they sometimes call them dragon heads. So what happened with the dragon heads? Well, the dragon heads had a system of tunnels. The system of tunnels, they would go underneath. When an ambush attack would happen, they would go under the tunnel, escape out to Chatham Square, which is where I lost signal just before the last video. Those tunnels still exist to this day. They used to be tourist attractions, and I actually visited them myself. It was before I'd made videos, so I really didn't take a video, nor I didn't take photo, but you can find videos and photos on YouTube. And one of the tunnels is right over here. It's one of these doors right there. So that is the bloody history of the Bloody Angle at Doris Street. So does that enhance your eating experience? Let me know. The Tongs are actually still alive, but as far as I know, and I would like to think that they are not involved in criminal activity. The Tongs became associations, and the two main associations are what they used to be. Tongs, gangs. And these associations have helped kind of Chinatown stay very closely knit. Very closely knit. Oh no, you eating there, says Munish. Yeah.
The guy from the vexillology TED Talk like this the other day.
By far, one of the best pork buns I've had in New York City. Highly recommend it. Lori says, wow, that's fascinating to hear. The tunnels still exist. Yeah, they do. They're sealed off, so they don't allow people to walk through it publicly. But they're still there. Still people, business owners that still use it. Thank you for taking the time to tell us the story behind where you go. Yeah, my pleasure. Definitely not the infamous triads. Triads are Japanese, if I'm correct. Yeah, not triads. Chinese Tongs. Eugene left a super chat. Thank you so much to Eugene. Sorry I missed it. Thank you so much to Eugene. Indeed he is. Thank you for the stream supporting small town businesses, is Ming Zhang. Yeah, Ming Zhang. Thank you so much. Yeah, my pleasure to be helping the small businesses in whatever small way I can. So if you're in the New York City area, feel free to support them. Feel free to come to these places, buy a little bit extra, give them your support, because they're great places. They offer amazing deals, and due to the circumstances of this pandemic, they have lost a whole lot of business, and they were hit harder and sooner than other places. And due to the economics of a lot of these places, since they're so competitive with their pricing, they're also hit a lot harder. So yeah, so do give them your business if you're here. Hey, how do you remember this and don't need Wikipedia to talk about it? I've done these stories over and over again a lot for the past 4 years, but the real reason why I remember a lot of these stories is because I really tell stories about anything I'm interested in, anything I found fascinating. So I actually sucked at history in school. I didn't find it interesting. I got like a B or C to B grades in most history classes. So The reason I got B or C's is because they were forced us to learn random dates and places, which I didn't care about. So that's why I don't remember it clearly. But when it comes to these stories, I just remember it more because I actually was fascinated. And Minnie says your information is not accurate. Well, Minnie, I don't have any notes, no teleprompter. I don't claim to be a historian, and don't have a second phone with Wikipedia. So do your own research afterwards. But that's the general gist of the story. That I tell the stories to give you overall version of what happened, but sometimes specifics might be not so accurate. That's what happens when you say a story out of in the sake of conversation. It is not a high school lecture, nor is it a academic setting, nor is it journalism. So we're just having conversation. And I love going to Chinatown when I lived in New York, says Gwen. Oh, I'm so glad, Gwen. All right, let me have a little bit more of this beer. So feel free to ask me any other questions. And now it's getting chilly. History is never really 100% accurate, no matter where it comes from. In a way, yes. In a way, yes, Natcat. In a way, yes. You do make a good point. Daryl says, we're not paying you to be accurate. Yeah, this is not a paid service or a documentary or anything. It's like hanging out with a friend. Do you tell a friend, oh, you actually got that one little detail incorrect out of that entire story? Yeah, you're not gonna be such a fun friend. if you're like busting a friend's balls because he got one date wrong, right? It's entertainment that counts. Yes, indeed. At least for this context. There's a lot of great history shows on YouTube. Highly recommend them. Shows that are academic, that provide sources that really are very specific, and they're edited, so they're not live like this. Hey Daryl, you subscribed. Oh, awesome. Thank you for subscribing. Tu lugar preferido de Chinatown. Oh, Prepi, gracias por preguntando. Mi preferido área, a mí me encanta esta calle, Doris Street. Y ahora este sitio es mi nuevo favorito, No More Tea Parlor. My favorite area in Chinatown is actually this street. I absolutely love it. There's awesome places. There's also a speakeasy right behind me, this one, right here. Apotheke. Of course it's closed because of the pandemic. But this place, No More Tea Parlor, is quickly becoming my favorite. And thank you for your great tours and information, says Holly. Oh, my pleasure, Holly. Hello, I'm Korean, and I love New York very much. Ooh, let me know how to say your name in Korean. I can't read the Korean language, so do let me know how to pronounce it. I speak English incorrectly, but I want to study more and communicate. It seems like you're doing a good job at writing English, so thank you so much for commenting. Holly, thank you for your great tours and information. Yes, different coat than yesterday, indeed. I love your scarf. And the bike in the back is truly in the way. Oh yeah, it's a random bike. It's the person writing Grubhub. What beer you got? I got Bronx IPA. Bronx Brewery, No Resolutions IPA. Excuse me. So since this is the New Year's, it's quite an appropriate beer. No resolutions. Kimmy, feel free to ask me anything about history, food, or culture. And Luciano, hello. Where do you get that beer? Here. They sold it. Artie says you're a wonderful person. I'm so glad. Feel free to ask me any other questions as I've been seeing this beer. Highly recommend No More Tea Parlor. As I mentioned, I made these videos so you can visit these small businesses and learn about them. I'm so glad I finally tried Namwa, the original location here in Doris Street. Absolutely magical scenery. If you're okay with eating out in the street in a little bit of cold, it's actually a really, really cool ambiance It's really interesting. So highly recommend it. And Rudd says, "You see my reflection in the mirror. Which one?" And I've always been accompanied. Glad you have a drink. Adds to fun, relax feel. I'm glad. Yeah, my pleasure. The bike left because it was a Grubhub. Grubhub is a food delivery service here in New York City. There's a few. Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, Caviar, and there's a few others. Taiwan says, this is a great stream. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, Taiwan. Big Dog says, great video today. It was the most interesting. Oh, I'm so glad, Big Dog, that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the super chat. And what does the beer taste like? So IPA. IPA is made out of hops. So hops are very bitter tasting. And like a fragrant bitterness. Hard to explain if you haven't had hops before. If you're new to beer, it might taste a bit soapy. Like it might taste like soap, it might taste like detergent. And it's because it's super fragrant, but it's an acquired taste and it's really, really good. The reason IPAs exist originally is because they're Indian pale ales. And the hops, since they're so bitter, they are very strong and very good at preserving the beer for longer periods of time. So when the British would travel back to India, they would bring their own beer. They would prefer to bring an Indian pale ale so it can travel farther. Otherwise, if you bring a regular beer, say a lager or a stout, on the ship to India, it's going to go bad very quickly. Do I know any Chinese film directors in New York? Great question, Elisa. The woman who directed The Farewell might be from New York. If anyone could remind me of her name, the actress Awkwafina was the main star of that film, The Farewell. It doesn't take place in New York, it takes place in China, but it's about a Chinese American going to China for a wedding/funeral. So it's a really, really great movie, in my opinion. There's a lot of other great Chinese American movies out there. There's also the movie made by the guy who did Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Justin Lin is his name? Justin Lin. He also did a movie with Chinese American high school kids. I forgot their name. If anyone can remind me the name. Lulu Wang, thank you. Lulu Wang is from The Farewell. I'm not sure if she's a New Yorker, but she's definitely Chinese American and great director. The Farewell's from 2019. 2019. Not 1990. That probably is another movie. It's The Farewell. When I do a special stream, I'm going to walk around Times Square on New Year's Eve during the day, 1 p.m. Let me know if there's any other great Chinese American filmmakers. Bruce Lee himself was partly raised in America. So even though Bruce Lee grew up very young in I think it was Hong Kong, he came here pretty young in age to America, and he became a gigantic star. He didn't, and I don't think he ended up directing anything, but he made some great movies. Sarah says, is it called Better Luck Tomorrow? Yes, Sarah, that is the name. Better Luck Tomorrow also depicts Chinese Americans. And there's probably other great movies. Crazy Rich Asians is also really good at depicting a Chinese American. The main character is Chinese American. Really great movie, in my opinion, as well. Let us know if there's any other great Chinese American movies. Now, when it comes to Chinese cinema, I don't know too much, but remember, Chinese American is not Chinese. Many Chinese Americans are separated by more than 100 years. It's like calling Italian American Italian. They're separated by many years. Dave says, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, Enter the Dragon is really good. Jackie Chan, he's really great. He made movies filmed in America, but I don't think he ever was. He's Chinese. He's Hong Kong. I think he's from Hong Kong. Do I know any Chinese? No, just ni hao ma. That's the only thing. Che. That's the only other thing. Someone earlier said I should collaborate with Zhao Ma. Zhao Ma is American, not Chinese American, American, who speaks fluent Cantonese and Mandarin, and he's huge on YouTube. He has like 2 or 3 million subscribers. I was actually very close to subscribing with him.
I remember that little nigga fell right here. Yeah, that shit was funny. Yeah, be out fucking side. Be outside. Be outside.
So those bicyclists were doing the mating call. It's the New Yorker mating call. So there's actually, I'll leave you with this. One of the best movies, in my opinion, that take place in New York is Premium Rush. Also features a Chinese American character, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a biker. He's not the Chinese American person. And that movie is really awesome because it shows you all of New York via bike. And the final scene, I'm not going to give you any more spoilers, but the final scene takes place right here. So watch that movie. Great movie. Shows you all of New York via bike. And they also go to like kind of the side streets. It shows you New York that's not typically shown in other movies. Have you seen The Good Place? No, I've not seen it. Is that a New York movie? And where do you buy it? The beer is from here. No Mall Tea Parlor. And is this the gang? No, those are not the tongs. Don't worry. They were just bicyclists. And Judith says your jacket. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoy it. Do you mean bicycle or motorcycle? They were using bicycles, not motorcycles. Just wondering, have you been to China? No, not yet. Not sure if I'll be able to go. You know, the history I talk about is I like to talk quite a bit of wide range of history. I like also talking about like the occult, and I like talking about global history. I don't feel quite comfortable going to China and doing videos about history, at least. Unfortunately. Which you could do further research online. There's a lot of YouTubers that were based in China that are no longer based in China. Dude, what about the cemetery tour idea with celebrities? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've shown a few cemeteries. Artie, feel free to discuss anything else. I don't discuss politics. Not even New York politics. My grandfather was friends with Lovecraft. Oh, that must have been a rough friendship. I don't think Lovecraft probably was a very talkative person. I would love a cemetery tour. Yeah, I've done a few. Look at the previous videos. If you want to see a Calvary Cemetery, go to my second channel, Urbanist Bonus. Queen Mother asks, have you met Sarah Jessica Parker? No, I've never met Sarah Jessica Parker. I think I've briefly seen her before walking around, but I usually don't say hello to celebrities. The only celebrity I met was in a situation where I got my Blu-ray signed by James Cameron. I had a small little chat with him. And Jacob, oh, that's so cool that you met a fellow New Yorker, Andrew Yang. And YouTube guy Hollywood Graves has awesome content about graveyard tours. Yeah, indeed. Luciano says I'm a celebrity. I don't think I quite qualify to be a celebrity. I'm not sure if I want to be a celebrity. Celebrities tend to be people who are known by the mainstream, so general public knows them. So while some YouTubers might be known and they might be spotted, or people who make content on Facebook or whatever, or Instagram, they might be spotted, they're not celebrities. Celebrities have to be known by the mainstream. At least that's the term we use here in America, it's celebrity. And in many other parts of the world, that's the term. Already B-lister, even then, not quite. What Cameron film was it? The film I got signed was the Titanic Blu-ray. And he was supposed to, this was back in 2015? No, 2013. He was supposed to talk about Titanic, and he didn't. and he started talking about Avatar 3, 4, and 5. Back in 2013, he didn't even mention Avatar 2, and I was blown away because I was like, wow, this man is thinking many steps ahead. So much so that he's not even talking about the next film that hasn't even been released yet to this day. Alex, I've done the tour of Père Lachaise. Yes, you can go to my video on Facebook, Alex. Search my playlist on Paris. I went to Père Lachaise Cemetery, and I might have seen the main singer of the Doris. It's a very funny moment that happened in Père Lachaise. Watch that video. And thank you 4K for putting the link of Urbanist Bonus. And rushing to watch some Jackie Chan. Oh yeah, Rumble in the Bronx is a movie that takes place here, but I think it was shot in Toronto. Alright, now I'm done. That was great, everyone. Been to Puerto Rico recently? Last time I actually did videos in Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico in 2019 and did videos. They're also on the Urbanist Bonus page. And on Facebook, you can see all of them. Sidian says, message you. Sorry everyone, to be honest, I don't really respond to too many messages online. So you can comment here on these videos. But the reason I don't respond to messages offline or really comments offline after I finish my videos is because I enjoy having extra time to myself to research history, to do my other work, to write my book. And that extra time does enhance the show. So that's why I don't tend to respond to comments afterwards. All right, guys, you want to see a little bit more Doris Street? I'm ready to stand up. I'm ready to walk. Let me know. You want to walk a little bit more? Judith, am I a writer? I am a writer. I wouldn't call myself a professional because I'm not hired by anyone, but I am indeed a writer. I've been writing for 10 years. All right, bear with me, enjoy the view. here it is inside. Jack, how did that your thing started? I don't know, but I think it started around my generation. People who grew up in the 90s or early 2000s. And this is the outdoor seating area. Teresa, I'm curious, how are you so well versed in a variety of topics? I love a bunch of topics. I am a fan of just learning. To be honest, I don't really read novels. I don't really kind of spend too much time watching too many movies. I just love watching. I just love learning. So I watch a lot of YouTube channels, educational channels. I'm constantly reading nonfiction. It's my personal choice. You be you, but for me, I just love learning. Learning in my own way, more informational things, more history, more culture, things like that. Alex says foot massage time. You know, Alex, I've never done a foot massage. I know a friend of mine is a fan of it. I was about to say their name, but I'd rather actually not say their name. Here's another place. I recommend the channel Smart History. Queen Janeway. Smart History blew me away. They were my main resource for my Rome and Paris videos. Absolutely love them. They were a huge lifesaver in learning art history very quickly. So I absolutely love Smart History on YouTube. Do I use TikTok? Yes. Actually, my biggest audience is on TikTok. I have 164,000 followers on TikTok. So here's the famous restaurant, Chinese Tuxedo. I've actually never tried it. Can't wait to go one day. Hey, a few people. Cynthia, you just purchased my book, Retrowave. So yeah, for people asking, I'm a writer. I've been writing for 10 years. I've been writing longer than I've been making videos. I started as a Tumblr blogger. Used to write about music, spirituality, personal development. And I also still write a lot about spirituality and personal development. And now I'm writing more fiction. So Retrowave was my first novella. If you love Retrowave, do feel free to rate it 5 stars. So if you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, don't review it. But if you did enjoy it, rate it 5 stars. So I'll show you more over here. This is Namwa. Look how beautiful this area is. Wow. I just love the look of this street. So gorgeous. My name and TikTok, @Ariel Vieira. If anyone can write it down. Wow. I can just be here all day staring at this street. Let's walk down. Beautiful. Is Retrowave a book? Yes, it is, on Amazon. So one of these staircases lead to the tunnels, but I forgot which one exactly. Elisa says, Retrowave 5 stars. Thank you, Elisa. 4K Wanderer, thank you so much. 4K Wanderer and Bernal and Judith for being amazing moderators. Let's go down there. I wish I can go down there, but it is closed to the public. Here's a lot of Chinese barbershops. It's clean, yeah, it's clean. Well, it depends on your perspective of clean, but yeah, it's definitely clean-esque. Hey, Queen Mother says, oh my god, you're so funny on your TikTok. Love your humor. Oh, I'm so glad you do. Is this the tunnel? Let's check it out. What's the name of the tunnel? It doesn't have a name. It's the business. The name of the curvy street is Doyers. Doyers Street. And someone wanted to see the arcade. I think it was Sarah who mentioned who wanted to see the arcade. You should try Taiwanese Bear House one day. Yeah, I will. So here's a very old Chinese. You can say that the oldest souvenir shops were in Chinatown. Some of them.
Vean ese juego de té, qué bonito. Miren este. Vean ese juego de té bien bonito. El Little Tea, ¿te lo viste?